straight. If we keep it the way it is, we're gonna die off.
What does that mean, die?
Meaning we're gonna just die in poverty.
I don't think. I think
We're gonna raise
you
children.
know how I think it ends? How it ends? You know how I think it will end? I think in 100 years the whole fucking country's gonna be brown. I think
Of course.
there isn't gonna be white or black anymore. It's just gonna be brown, right?
Of course.
It's gonna be Puerto Rico,
Of course.
right? Which is a mix of
But they have problems. Even though in Puerto Rico,
yeah, but
it's going down.
but it's not really racial.
Within themselves.
Yeah, not really.
It's classism.
Yeah, but it's not. Listen, I mean, Puerto Ricans are Puerto Ricans first, right? I mean,
I get that, and I don't have a problem.
Listen, the thing is, I'm saying but Puerto Rico's a great example, right?
But I want to answer your
Because it's so
question.
mixed, and you have, I've seen it with my friends, where, you have two light-skinned Puerto Ricans who look more like the Spanish side, but they have strong African relatives. Then they have a child's dark, right? I've seen it. I got a friend who's very dark, right?
And that person just gets shunned in the back.
I don't think so.
But here's my point. I don't have enough to speak on the Spanish community.
No, but my point about that is that Puerto Rico's been intermixing for 400 years.
I get
Old
that.
San Juan was built in like the 1400s, right?
I get
My
it.
point is, though, I think that's really how it is here.
Yeah.
Is that in 100 years, when everybody's mixed, you have blacks and whites in the same families, and by the way, they're not, so the children aren't, they're mixed. You can't hate yourself.
This is how that reads, though, Mac. That reads, get rid of blackness, right? When you get rid of blackness, you get rid of fear, you get rid of judgment, you get rid of all that.
But you're also getting rid of whiteness.
But that's not how it reads.
Huh?
It reads.
What's the difference?
The difference is there's no black. That's the difference.
Because there also won't be any white.
But we're not talking about that. We're talking
But
about.
why does it matter to have one and not the other?
Because it's the black community.
But the white community.
The white community is okay as far as we're concerned.
As far as you're concerned.
Correct. But I don't think
You
the
don't
black
think there's white
community.
poverty?
I do know that.
Go to Ravenna, Ohio.
I know that.
But
But
see some real trailer trash that you wish you
so that
lived
comes
in a house.
across as a protest to a protest, right?
But my point is, every side has a conviction about their economic situation. I mean,
But we're not bitching. We're trying to tell
do you know more white people are killed a year by police officers?
I don't.
And because also, remember this, the America's only made up of 13% African Americans, right? So there's more white people.
That's a statistic.
Of
So
course.
that's learned behavior, right?
But
They're
my
telling us
point
that.
is, that's how white people feel this. Do you know how many? So I have one of my best friends. He's Arab. His brother was shot about 10 years ago. Was shot and killed by a police officer during an arrest. There was a SWAT team involved. Only one officer fired. He was unarmed. The officer claimed he reached in his belt buckle or something, and he shot him, right? And he feels like, he's like, if my brother was black,
Yeah.
there would be protests in the streets because he was unarmed.
Yeah.
He was killed.
Yeah.
You don't hear anything about it. You don't hear anything about Omar Ali,
Yeah.
right?
Where is his people?
So that's
Did
my
they
point.
protest?
They did not. That's my point. So number one, I think the black community is stronger than you're giving it credit for. When
No,
it comes to
I
organization.
know it is. However, we live in a controlled environment.
But
And
also-
what I'm saying
but
is,
listen,
leave us the
also-
fuck alone.
but also-
and let us control.
I
our
think
environment.
that you guys think that you're the only ones dealing with the problems that you're dealing with, when in reality, I can show you Arab Americans, white Americans, Asian Americans that are also dealing with that problem. If you're looking at it strictly through a black lens, it's hard to accept that, right?
So here's
but
the
if you're
problem with that.
my buddy Gallup Ali,
Uh-huh.
and you know your brother was murdered, and was unarmed or by a cop, okay? You're gonna feel a kind of way about, well, how come the press, how come the media never
Got behind it.
never did a thing on this, or
Uh-huh.
how come the prosecutor never impaneled a grand jury to look at it?
So
Because
here's
there's
my
a double
problem
standard.
with that.
He says
Correct.
there's a double standard. So if
Correct.
my brother's black, you know, he is, you know, they're going to, because the optics are worse, there's going to be more justice than for us. So my point is that,
DEI,
but there's like a tag your it thing that has always gone on from you had the British, then it was the Irish, then it was the Germans, then it was the Italians, and then, you know, it's like this tag your it kind of thing, you know?
Okay.
But my point is this. So you say like leave you alone, right?
Leave us the fuck alone.
But I don't know what that
But
means.
here's the problem. If everybody has injustice in their race or a bad rap in their race, right? But they're pretty much doing well now.
Okay.
Where is the passed down shared knowledge to do as well as them? If we're all caring about each other.
Yeah.
Because black people feel that way as well. That, you know, you have these, for sake of conversation, bleeding hot liberals that say, hey man, you know, you're not the only one that has it bad. We have it bad too. But your community is doing very well. Your children are growing old. Your community is clean. You're taking care. Where's the passed down information to get us out of our situation?
But what is that? But you say on
If
one
that's
hand,
the case.
But you say on one hand, you say on one hand, leave us the fuck alone.
Yes, separation.
What I don't understand. What?
Okay.
Explain to me
Let us self-police, self-govern, self-school, self-education.
So you want to be on
self-funding.
So you should have an Indian reservation.
I mean,
Because that's
if you want to have that segregation.
That's segregation.
Hear me out.
Separation. That's segregation.
If you want to,
Be careful then.
I'm not here. I'm good with that. If you want to
You don't really want that.
hear me out. If you want to describe it like that, then sure. But I'll tell you what we don't want. We don't want these communities where we're killing each other. We don't want these low-paying jobs. We don't want these banks that don't help us, fund us. We don't want a police force that doesn't protect and serve us. We don't want a school that doesn't educate us. We don't want, you know, schools that just make us workers.
So hold on a second. So if we were just to say, take your proposal and say, all right, you're on your own. We're leaving you the.
Who's that?
You're saying
Who's that? Who's doing that?
You're obviously referring to white society.
Not white
When
society.
you're saying leave us, if you're us,
Whoever's
who is that?
controlling the environment.
Well, who is it? Who do you
That
think
would
it is?
be the government all
Who
day
do you
long.
think is controlling the government? You obviously don't think it's black people.
Well, it has a diversity program. I don't think it's all white people anymore. I don't think it's all white
I
men.
agree with you. I don't think it's either. But my point is that at that point, though,
I think-
what
so
difference does it make if you're
what's the
separate?
same,
Well, what difference does it make if you're separate?
What was his fucking name?
You're
Was it
still-
Jason Nelson?
Yeah,
Okay, he works for HUD, right?
he did.
He's head of HUD.
I think he was.
Okay, I mean, okay. So if we were talking about it when he was in charge of HUD, that's exactly who we would be talking to.
Of
A
course.
black man.
Of course.
But he was
Was
hired by
Obama was in charge, was the president of the United States.
Exactly.
So Eric Holder was your attorney general.
So I don't think it's a you. I think it's whoever is controlling the environment that is creating.
You don't really, I don't think advocating for two separate Americans.
I'm not asking for two separate Americans.
Separate,
I'm
some
just
police,
saying.
some this.
I'm
I mean, it
just
sounds
saying.
like some like Indian reservation type shit.
Well, that's the way to
But
look
by
at
the way,
it.
but if you talk to Native Americans on the reservations, they're at alcohol, substance abuse is rampant, kidnappings rampant. They got real problems on these reservations, poverty rampant.
So
I don't know why we want to be disconnected.
First of all, we're comparing ourselves to something that hasn't happened, right?
Well, you're
You're asking me a solution, and I'm saying getting rid of whoever that is, right? Whoever this is killing us this weekend. Whoever this is keeping us in the housing, in the environment that comes with that housing. Financial. Everything is financial, right? So it starts with education.
Right.
If you're educating kids to work,
So how do you get better education?
we educate